This is the third part of the chapter, Nationalism in India. The Lahore session in 1929, under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, announced full independence as the main aim of Congress party, and they authorized Gandhiji to start a movement. Gandhiji gave a thought and chose salt as a question to start a movement. Salt Satyagraha and Civil Disobedience Movement. On January 31st, 1930, Gandhiji sent 11 demands to Lord Irwin. Demands were wide ranging so that all classes could identify with them and everyone could be brought together in a united campaign. Gandhiji sent 11 demands. Some demands were in general nature, some demands were in bourgeois nature, some demands were of peasants, demands of the peasants. The general demand, the first, reduce the expenditure on army and civil services by 50%. Introduce total provision. Reform in criminal investigation department. Change Arms Act allowing popular control of issue of firearm license. Release political prisoners. Accept post reservation bill. Some of the bourgeois demand like reduce rupee sterling exchange ratio. Protect textile industries. Reserve coastal shipping for Indians. Peasant demands reduce land revenue by 50%. Abolish salt tax and government salt monopoly. Gandhiji letters was in form of ultimatum. If the government do not fulfill the demand by 11th March, Congress would launch a civil disobedience movement. Salt Satyagraha or civil disobedience movement. Irwin was unwilling to negotiate, so Gandhiji launched his Salt Satyagraha, accompanied by 78 trusted volunteers from Sabarmati Ashram on 12th March to Gujarat coastal town of Dandi, where he reached on 6th April 1930. Nearly 240 miles he travelled in 24 days, an average of 10 miles in a day. On 6th of April, he reached Dandi and ceremoniously violated the law by manufacturing salt by boiling seawater. This marked the beginning of civil disobedience movement. Civil disobedience movement was adopted different path. It was not only refused to cooperate but also to break the unjust colonial laws. People manufactured salt by breaking the salt law and demonstrated in front of government salt factories. Foreign clothes were boycotted, liquor shops were picketed, peasants refused to pay revenue and chowkidari tax, village officials resigned, forest dwellers violate forest law and collect goods from reserve forest and graze cattle. The reaction of people and the leaders to civil disobedience movement. Several Congress leaders were arrested. Abdul Ghaffar Khan was arrested in April 1930 in Northwest Frontier Province. Angry crowd demonstrated in the street of Peshawar. Mahatma Gandhi was also arrested. Symbol of British rule, like police post, municipal building, court, railway station, were attacked by Solapur industrial workers. Dharasan. Dharasan was famous for its salt factory, was raided by Sarojini Naidu, Imam Sahab, Manilal. In Assam, a powerful agitation was organized against Cunningham Circular, which forced parents and guardians to furnish assurance of good behavior of their child. In Nagaland, at the young age of 13, Rani Gondonili raised the banner of revolt against the foreign rule. The impact of the agitation. The first impact of the agitation, the foreign import from Britain fell drastically. The second impact, election to legislative assembly was boycotted. The third impact, government income from land revenue, liquor and excise fall sharply. Gandhi-Irwin Pact and Roundtable Conference. On the basis of Simon Commission report, British government organized Roundtable Conference and invited Indian leaders to discuss the changes required in the governance of India. The first Roundtable Conference, which was organized in November 1930, continued to January 1931. This first ever conference arranged by British and India as equal. Congress and most business leaders boycotted this first roundtable conference. Muslim League, Liberals, Hindu Mahasabha, and several princes attended it. Gandhi-Irwin Pact or Delhi Pact. On January 25th, 1931, Gandhiji and all other members of Congress Working Committee were released unconditionally. Congress Working Committee authorized Gandhiji to initiate discussion with viceroy. On 5th March 1931, Gandhi and Irwin had signed a pact known as Delhi Pact or Gandhi-Irwin Pact. On part of Irwin, on the behalf of the government, Irwin agreed to immediately release all political prisoners non-convicted of violence. He also agreed to remission of all fines not collected and return of all land not sold to third party. He also agreed to right to make salt in coastal villages and lenient treatment to those who left government services and want to rejoin it. He also agreed to right of peaceful and non-aggressive picketing of liquor shops and foreign goods selling shops, withdrawal of emergency ordinance. But Irwin turned down two of the Gandhiji's demands. One is commutation of Bhagat Singh and his comrades' death sentences, and second is public inquiry into police excesses. Gandhiji also accepted some demand of Irwin. One, the first, to suspend civil disobedience movement and to participate in roundtable conference in London. Second roundtable conference, which was organized in December 1931. The expectation from the second roundtable conference was very low because the right-wing leader Churchill opposed to British government negotiation with Congress on equal basis. The Labour Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald headed a conservative-dominated cabinet with a reactionary Secretary of State Samuel Hoare. Minority of Roundtable Conference delegates were conservative, communal, reactionary, loyalist, who were used by colonial government to prove that Congress did not represent all Indians and neutralize Gandhiji. Princes were opposed to formation of federation, especially after the possibility of Congress government at center after civil disobedience movement. The session soon got deadlocked on the question of minorities. Separate electorate were demanded by Muslims, depressed class, Christians, Anglo-Indians in minority pact. Gandhiji was against the concerted effort to make all constitutional progress conditional on solving the minority issue. Session ended with MacDonald announcement. The first announcement was Northwest Frontier Province and Sindh, two Muslim majority province was created. Second announcement, the setting of Indian Consultative Committee. Third announcement, three expert committee was formed in finance, franchise and matter of the state. The fourth announcement, the prospect of unilateral communal award if the leaders fail to agree. This unilateral communal award was that to give separate electorate to Dalits. Government failed to agree on the basic Indian demand of freedom. Gandhiji returned disappointed and witnessed repression when he returned back under the new viceroy Lord Wellington. Congress was declared illegal, leaders were arrested, and civil martial law was enforced in the country. Gandhiji tried to relaunch civil disobedience movement but had to withdraw it when it failed to get momentum in 1934. This is the end of the part 3 of the videos. We will continue with the other part.